Okay, so what I'm wanting to do now is ask all the viewers what the best console ever is. No one really knows. In my opinion, it's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. It was my favorite one of all time. I mean, right next to the original Nintendo, the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. But it's all based on opinions. I mean, to me, it was like phenomenal when the Super Nintendo came out, and I first saw it on a Walmart kiosk lit up, with that sign, that Super Nintendo sign above it. My brother pointed it out, and I didn't honestly even know they came out with another one until he showed me it. It's like, look, they got the Super Nintendo out to play. It's a new system. I said, they come out with the Super Nintendo? Really? I said something like that. I always went to Walmart just to play that. I didn't get it until like after a year it was out. I had to save up my own money, rake a lot of leaves, do odd jobs for my one neighbor next door to me to make money to buy this thing. By the time I bought it, it was down to basically $140 instead of $200. It went down from $200. That was kind of a lot for back then. So, and it came with Super Mario World, 2 controllers. And they got the 64 hours under the assumption that Super Mario 64 came with that. It only had 1 controller, and I found out, no, you're just getting 1 controller in the system and the hookups. That's it. They got kind of cheap about that, Like, this is stuff that Sega always did, just give you the 1 controller, sometimes pack a game in, depending on how much you were willing to spend. But anyway, yeah, it was a great day when I got my Super Nintendo. I remember it well, going and getting it and coming home with it and everything. Just played it so much before. I just couldn't believe how much better the graphics and gameplay seemed to be than the NES. But really, as far as gameplay goes, I think they're equal between those two. But there were so many good games for the Super Nintendo, so many good games for the NES, and I have a hard time deciding between those two which was the better one at this point. Back then I would have just said Super Nintendo just because it was the newer one. But in my opinion, and a lot of people have said it, I guess, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System is the best system of all time. So I got the Super Famicom sitting here, and I've got the Super Nintendo sitting here. I've got 1 Super Famicom controller over here and 2 Super Nintendo controllers, and I have a Game Genie and a Super Game Boy. I don't have the Super Scope 6. And I do have the... Did I not get it out? Let's see if it's right here. I do have the mouse for Mario Paint. I never had Mario Paint back in the day. And I don't know what I honestly did with it right now. But wait, I think I see it. Ah, here it is. All this stuff just piled up in this cabinet here. The one thing I didn't get out, just thought of it. There's the mouse. And actually, I cleaned that ball when I got it because it was kind of fidgety. Cord. That's for Mario Paint. I'm going to go over the systems here first. And then I'll go over every game that I have here. Just set this down. Just set this out of my way. That's good. So, yeah, I thought the Super Nintendo was great. Well, here, you know what? I'll start with the Super Famicom. I bought this several years ago. It's the Japanese version. And I think, if I'm correct, I can use an NES for the DC and NES adapter for the DC, and there's all the hookups. I think this one actually only required 9 volt. I just used it not long ago. But Super Nintendo requires a 10 volt adapter. If you try to plug a 9 volt universal one in, you'll get waves through the screen because it's lacking power. It's weird how they did this, and on off switch, reset. When I got that, I had to clean that because that didn't really seem to want to reset. I used just some rubbing alcohol around it and it got it. Oh, you got the expansion port right there for the Super Nintendo CD that we never got. It became the Sony PlayStation. Sony went and did it on their own. Oh, the eject button. Power lights right there. And I'm not going to play anything because if you look back at my videos, I play Super Nintendo games on here as well. Just watch me play those and you can see it's remarkable, you know. Vent for the back, the heat vent, you know. Controller ports, just... That's the Super Famicom. And here is a Super Famicom controller that came with it when I got it. And they're short. Because I guess in Japan they sit up close when they play video games. They sit up close to the TV, so that's why they're shorter. That backside, that don't really matter. Plug. Now I'll go over the Super Nintendo. It's the one I have. Got the power light here. Power, off, reset. And see, in this one it does say DC 10 volt on this one. And I had to have that little panel replaced in the back because that kind of broke on. I had someone do it for me at one of these second time round game shops. I had to switch between 3 and 4. Channels 3 and 4, I don't use that stuff anyway. Does this one have that? Yeah, that one had the same thing. It's got the switch on the back to switch between 3 and 4. You saw it there, I didn't point it out. There. Right there. That was for put the RF in. And I think that's... Yeah, there's the RF one here. You have the video one here, same as on the other one. You've seen it there. This one's in pretty good shape. That Super Famicom's kind of yellow. When I had my original Super Nintendo, the whole thing turned yellow. I left it on my parents' basement floor for like a year with all the cartridges. Bad idea, and I think that's what got it. It all turned yellow, I think, except for the cartridge slot and this part here. I think it was just the top half. It's the plastic. It's something in that plastic. This one here, I bought from someone I worked with years back. I mean, probably like 2009. Yeah, I've had this one for probably 15 years compared to, I had my original one for 7 and sold it to someone at work in the late 90s with all my games. I had Castlevania Dracula X, which is worth a fortune now. And lost all that. Super Scope 6, I had that. That thing was fun. It was kind of fidgety depending on the room you were in. Sometimes it didn't always want to work right. But anyway, there's the eject button. So I don't have a Model 2 to show. And this has the same thing. Expansion port for the Super Nintendo CD we never got. Well, we did. And that's what the PlayStation is. But you didn't get, you know, Zelda and Mario on the PlayStation. So I think that about covers it. Cool system. I always liked how it looked, everything. Controller ports. I think I showed the power light there. But then you had the vent on the back. Of course, you got their service number you can call for help with that. Same number they've always had. I wouldn't call them about it now. They'll tell you they don't do that one anymore. And here are the controllers I have for it. That, I think, is a Model 2 one. It's got the Nintendo embedded in it. And this is the one I like to mostly use because it seems to be the best. A lot longer cord. And here's the other one. The reason I'm showing both is because there was a difference. I know at least on this one, on the American one here, the US version, see, this has it painted on there. Same thing. I don't know if this is the one that didn't work too good. I thought the start button, I had trouble with one of the start buttons on one. Long cord. Show everything I have here. Game Genie. on-off switch for it if you don't want to turn it on while you're playing it. And, you know, I fiddle with that sometimes just for fun. Super Game Boy, you've seen me do videos with that. Got Mega Man, Dr. Wily's Revenge in it. Nice little thing to play Game Boy games right on the TV screen. And that's all that I have. I already showed the mouse. There were probably several other accessories for this thing that I don't even know about. I used to have a programmable pad for it for like Street Fighter 2. When I was playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo, it sort of worked. It had 3 buttons to program. It was kind of like a clear one. And I got it to work a little bit, but it really, when I hit that program button, it would either work or not. You had to like program the moves in a little screen on a little like calculator type screen. But as far as my opinion, is this the best console ever? You tell me in the comment box what your idea of the best console ever, because to me this was the greatest thing ever when I like it more so than the 64. I got the 64, I liked it, but I always thought back on this thing when I was playing it, and like it was a big jump, the 64. It was a real breakthrough in technology going to 3D worlds like that, and it's something we didn't have. We weren't used to it. They did away with side-scrolling games for several years, and then they kind of brought them back because there were people like me out there like, I want to play, you know, like I used to play. Make some new games like that. They found out, I think, that the game doesn't have to be 3D like that in a 3D world for it to be good. It's the gameplay. Back then it was 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit. All it was a processor, really, but that's how they marketed it, you know. And I went off of it, and I thought, oh yeah, it's twice as good, you know, even getting the NES to the Super NES. Well, and it is. It really was twice as good, but I don't even know what a bit is. So, I mean, and they claim to display so many colors on the Super Nintendo compared to the Sega Genesis, all on the screen at the same time. And you can see it. You can see that the Super Nintendo has a lot more colors than the Sega Genesis. They, they waited longer than Sega did. Sega came out with the Genesis in '87, the Super Nintendo '90 in Japan is where it came out, '91 in the U.S. and went all over the world. But so they had, more technology built into it. But Sega Genesis, I'm not saying nothing bad about it. Great system. Never had one growing up, and it's a treat to play it. Whenever I play it, even to this day. Like, I love having the Sega CD and all that. The 32X, which didn't do well, but it's just nice to have it and play it because, I wasn't able to really play Sonic growing up. I got a Game Gear and I played it on that. But I'll at least have it on a handheld and I can take it anywhere. But my opinion is Super Nintendo to me is the best console ever. You tell me what the best console ever is in the comment box. And here, I'm going to show a quick glimpse of all my games, and then I'm going to go over them and show you every single one. So, here they are. And here it is, my full SNES game collection and my full Super Famicom game collection. You see there isn't as many there, that they're in the top left with no end labels. But I'm going to go over them all here in just a minute, just kind of let you see what's here, sort of. I probably can't read these too well, but I'll pull everyone up and show each one. So let's get to it. Okay, so I'm going to go over each one individually here. Just take just a little bit. Of course, everyone likes KI Killer Instinct black cartridge there. Nope. I don't know what this one is. I got some that were just like given to me, or I bought them in a big bundle. Rise of the Robots. Anyone knows anything about that? I don't even know if I ever tried it on here. Of course, MTV's Beavis and Butthead. Love that game. Trying to get to the War concert. Vegas Stakes. And not the kind of game I would play. I just happen to have it. Batman Forever, I think I've tried that, and it's okay. Star Trek The Next Generation. I'm really showing the ones I like here, don't am I? Oh, this one I love. Gradius 3. There's Mario Paint that uses a mouse. Joe and Mac, great game. RoboCop versus the Terminator, great game. I just did a gameplay on that. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, great game. I just did a gameplay on that. NBA Jam, I should do a gameplay on that. I love that game. Super Star Wars, that's actually not bad. Kind of hard, but not bad. Jeopardy Deluxe Edition, I'm never going to play that. I can tell you right now. Okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 4 Turtles in Time, that's excellent. And this is a heck. Super Mario World, what is it called? The Princess Rescue 2. I don't think the backup battery works very good in it. I had trouble with it and I quit playing it. It's just like, and it's Luigi in it. It's weird. Of course, you got Super Mario World packing game. Super Punch Out. Great game. I was actually thinking about playing that one again. Joe and Mac 2 Lost in the Tropics. Great game. That's worth a little bit of money. That probably goes for $90, $100 on eBay. Championship Pool. Probably won't ever try it. Hyperzone. I should try that because that kind of looks interesting. It looks like that might just be a shooter. Never tried it. I got another copy of Killer Instinct. I forgot that I had 2 copies, didn't I? Yeah, I do. I can get rid of one of them. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. What is this? Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. It's an LJN game. I tried it once and it was just okay. LJN doesn't do the best. X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. That's a great game. I should get into something on that. Final Fight 3. That's authentic and that's worth like around 100 to 130 bucks on eBay. NHLPA Hockey 93. Believe it or not, I actually like that game. I had it back in the day and that's why I specifically bought it again. I should try it again. Star Fox. Everyone's got to have Star Fox. What is this? Warlock. Beware the ultimate evil of Warlock. I don't know anything about that one. Like I say, I got some here. Now I have this. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Not for resale, kiosk cartridge that I picked up at a local Game Swap years ago for $20. And this is, when I see it on eBay, it goes for like $300 just because it's got that kiosk sticker on it. It was used in the kiosk. So I'm hanging on to that. And it is the full game. They're trying to tell me if it's not, bring it back. I think they made a mistake and sold me that for $20. I really do. They didn't realize it was in there. And they didn't realize they had that label. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. We got Super Empire Strikes Back. The Star Wars games a lot of people liked. War 3010. The Revolution. Way in the future. That's what it says. You know anything about it. Of course, Mega Man X. Phenomenal. Gotta have Super Mario All-Stars. The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past always has to be in the Super Nintendo collection. Race Drive, and I actually love that game. I think on the Genesis it's hard driving, but it's very, very similar. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. That's a lot of fun. Tetris and Dr. Mario. And both on one pack with updated graphics. Castlevania 4, Super Castlevania 4. I love that game. I can play that over and over again. I need to do something Castlevania on here at some point. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Crossroads of Time. I'm getting through them, F-Zero. Love that game. Always have to play as the pink car. T2, the arcade game, Terminator 2. Let's pick that one up and try that. Blackthorn. Don't know anything about that one. Super Mario Kart. Yes, you always have to have that. That's the original one. What started all that Mario Kart craze. Disney's Aladdin. Oh, I almost dropped one. Chuck Rock. Love Chuck Rock. I have several versions of that Sega CD. Chuck Rock 2. Yeah. Sega CD. Super Star Wars Return of the Jedi. I did a Chuck Rock review, that's right. The Sega CD way back. Doom. Red cartridge. That's the one that has the good sound. Power Rangers. Zeo Battle Racers. Huh. I need to pull some of these out and actually try them. They're just ones that I got because I bought them in a pack, like I said. Oh, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. One of my favorite games there. Love it. Played it over and over again. Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Everyone loves that. At least I think. Super Street Fighter 2. I think I went over these games a real long time ago also, the Street Fighter series and the Super Nintendo. Street Fighter 2. Original one, I remember buying that in a set of 3 on eBay for like $27 a long time ago. Now they're a lot more than that. Look at the Super Famicom. Rockman X2, aka Mega Man. This is Poppin' Twinbee. That's a shooter, a lot of fun. Super Back to the Future 2, if anyone remembers my gameplay on that. That's the cartridge. Final Fight. Street Fighter 2. That's the Japanese version. Same thing, only some Japanese text. I think this is Mega Man and Bass. It's in Japanese, but I think that's what the game is called. I got that in a set. Or Rockman and Bass for over there. Rockman X, same as Mega Man X. Rockman's Soccer, which this is very expensive if you get the American version, the US version. It wasn't to get it. I got that and like that Mega Man and Bass all in a set, and those Mega Man X, Rockman X 1 and 2, I think all together. I thought that's how I got them. Final Fight 2, I said I don't have it on Super Nintendo, but I got it on Super Famicom. Final Fight Guy, which I don't think came over here. We just had the original one. This just had Guy in it, just made it like the arcade. Super Donkey Kong, aka Donkey Kong Country, it's all that is. Rockman 7, aka Mega Man 7. It was cheaper to buy it on that, and that's why I did, because it was like $150, $200 for the Super Nintendo version here. And then, of course, Super Mario Brothers 4, Super Mario World. That was technically what they called it, but on this cartridge, if you look at it real close, it's Super Mario Brothers 4 in small writing next to the Super there on the Super Mario World. Just came with it when I bought that, so I actually 2 copies of that, but that's my whole Super Nintendo, Super Famicom collection. And we sit back here. I hope you like this video, and like I say, let me know in the comment box what you think of everything I showed here and how I explained it. If I missed something or anything, just, you know, comment and say, hey, why didn't you mention this or that? I love the Super Scope 6. I just don't see I was gonna buy it, and I just don't see getting it now. And I heard something that they don't really work good on these flat screens. So I didn't really want to fool with it, and they went way up in price. The only game I ever had was what came with it. I never had Battle Clash, or was it Metal Combat or something? Yeah. But as far as the Super Nintendo goes, it's my favorite. You tell me what your favorite is. I'd like to hear what your favorite is, so I can kind of look it over and maybe see something I might have missed about another game system. It could be anything. You could tell me the Atari 2600 is the best console of all time. But anyway, if you like this video and you're not subscribed, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I try to get as much content out as I can. And as always, thanks for watching.